A mysterious drone wreckage discovered near Bandar Abbas is raising new questions about who may be operating against Iran. The discovery has fueled speculation that Iran may be facing threats from beyond its traditional adversaries. Iranian media has showcased drone debris it claims could be linked to a UAE-made aircraft, though the allegation remains unverified. New claims involving Gulf states have intensified speculation, but no independent evidence has confirmed the accusations. Iran is searching for answers after drone wreckage recovered near Bandar Abbas triggered a geopolitical storm. Iranian media suggested the debris appears consistent with a UAE-made Yabhon unmanned aerial vehicle. The allegation has not been independently verified, and Iranian authorities have not officially confirmed the drone's origin. If confirmed, it could mark the first publicly known case of a UAE-made drone being used against Iranian territory. Analysts say the wreckage appears visually consistent with the UAE's Yabhon drone family. The Yabhon series is primarily known as an intelligence and surveillance platform rather than an attack drone. There has been no confirmed evidence of the platform previously being used in one-way strike missions. Investigators are now assessing whether the footage actually shows a modified version of the Yabhon aircraft. Iranian state television also alleged that HIMARS missiles were launched from Kuwait during recent overnight strikes. The claims were broadcast by Iranian state media commentators on July 15. Neither Kuwait nor the UAE has publicly confirmed any involvement in the reported attacks. So far, Tehran has stopped short of directly accusing the UAE government of carrying out the alleged drone operation. Iran has also avoided opening a second military front against Gulf states despite weeks of escalating conflict. However, if a UAE-made attack drone is ultimately confirmed over Iranian territory, it could significantly reshape the regional conflict. Reports of loud explosions in downtown Dubai suddenly pulled the UAE into the US-Iran showdown, hinting at possible pressure on American allies. Witness accounts of blasts in the UAE during US-Iran fire exchanges fed fears that the conflict shockwaves are reaching regional financial hubs. However, Dubai media office swiftly denied reports of any explosions in Dubai City on July 16. Meanwhile, Iran's top negotiator Ghalibaf said that Iran has no choice but to rely on its strength, signaling a hardened, siege mentality in Tehran's negotiating posture. He also alleged that the US seeks to hit Iran and advance its interests whenever it can. US missiles also struck areas near the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas. Early reports said there were no injuries or damage to infrastructure, suggesting calibrated signaling strikes rather than a full-blown attempt to cripple Iran's Gulf hub. Even as Iran warned Donald Trump to expect surprises if he kept striking, did Trump just respond by dropping new bombs near Qeshm, essentially daring Tehran to make good on every threat it has made? Is Trump brushing off Tehran's most dramatic warnings yet, as new US bombs reportedly fall near Qeshm Island in a message that Washington has no intention of pausing its military campaign? Iranian media reports on July 16 claim US projectiles slammed into areas around Qeshm Island in the Gulf, adding a strategically sensitive new location to a growing list of Iranian territory already struck by American forces. Iran state broadcaster IRIB is reporting that a projectile struck a village on Qeshm Island itself, raising the alarming possibility that populated civilian areas are now being caught in the crossfire of this escalating war. These latest US strikes came directly after Iran's army spokesman warned Trump to expect the unveiling of new military surprises, suggesting Washington chose escalation over caution in the face of Tehran's most pointed threat yet. On July 16, Iran's army explicitly warned Donald Trump to expect new surprises if US attacks continued, framing the threat as a promise rather than a bluff from a military still capable of escalating. The army spokesman warned that any further hostile actions would trigger the unveiling of new Iranian capabilities, suggesting Tehran has been holding back weapons or tactics it has not yet chosen to use. The warning came directly after Trump threatened to strike Iran's power plants and bridges, a threat that would mark a dramatic expansion of the conflict's targets and its potential civilian impact. Amir Akraminia said, and I quote, If the US president insists on his adventurism and hostile actions, he should expect the unveiling of the Islamic Republic of Iran Army surprises. Unquote. Iran has accused the United States of a barbaric strike near Shahid Baghai Cancer Hospital, a charge that is drawing international attention and putting Washington's targeting decisions under sharp scrutiny. Iran's foreign ministry claimed that 211 chemotherapy patients had to be evacuated from a hospital following overnight U.S. strikes, describing a chaotic scene of sick and vulnerable people fleeing in the dark. According to Al Jazeera, Iran said children, patients on oxygen tanks and patients in wheelchairs were all forced to flee the hospital, painting a devastating picture of the human cost of strikes so close to a medical facility.
4 explosions in a row occurred, so much so that the blast wave spread throughout, and the patients, even those downstairs, were truly affected by a very heavy wave. The special patients are all in a very abnormal condition, meaning there isn't a stable situation for the patients here. Unfortunately, it has been bombed so much that their breathing requires oxygen, and the machines we had, even they were shaken by the blast wave. It was so close that we thought perhaps the entire hospital was hit. Really, the entire staff, patients, and companions just rushed out. The patients were in different conditions. In the pediatric ward, the baby was in the mother's arms, the equipment still attached. One was taken in a wheelchair, the other was taken out with help. Everyone was evacuated.
Iran said the latest round of U.S. strikes killed at least 35 people and left more than 300 others injured, figures that, if verified, would represent some of the heaviest civilian casualties of the entire conflict. Iranian officials also claimed that 7 soldiers were killed after an army barracks was struck directly, adding a military casualty toll to what Tehran is framing as an indiscriminate attack on its people. Explosions were reported across a wide arc of southern Iran, including Qeshm, Bandar Abbas, Shabahar and Karamabad, suggesting the latest U.S. operation hit targets spread across multiple strategic zones simultaneously. U.S. Central Command said its forces targeted Iranian military sites that had been directly threatening commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, framing the operation as a defensive action to protect global trade routes. Washington also confirmed that an empty oil tanker was disabled during the operation after it attempted to break the naval blockade, signaling that the U.S. is now enforcing maritime control with direct force. Iran has launched a fresh wave of military action, widening the conflict beyond direct U.S. targets and placing Washington's Gulf allies firmly in the crosshairs. Explosions were reported across Kuwait as the country's air defenses responded to what authorities described as incoming hostile threats. Kuwait says its air defense systems intercepted hostile drones as regional tensions surged. The Kuwaiti army said, and I quote, "The Kuwaiti air defenses are currently confronting attacks by hostile drones, following the sinful Iranian aggression." The General Staff of the Army notes that the sounds of explosions, if heard, are the result of air defense systems intercepting the hostile attacks. Everyone is requested to adhere to the security and safety instructions issued by the competent authorities, unquote. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it struck the CRAM early warning radar at Kuwait's Ali Al Salem Air Base during its latest wave of attacks. The IRGC says Operation Nosser 2 also targeted an area where U.S. troops were gathered inside the base. Iranian military officials claim they also launched drone strikes against U.S. military facilities located in Jordan.